Oh no.
That's it.
All right, look at that. The gift that keeps on giving.
Exactly.
Let me see that cup.
Oh, and it has this effect if you pull it back. It looks like
Oh,
a
I
fish
like
eye.
that. I like that.
That's super cool. Yeah.
Adam finally got his Christmas gift. That's pretty dope.
Yeah. Yeah. It was with the headshot. Well, thank you, Marcelo. It actually turned out. 30 seconds.
Oh,
Go.
I know what prayer can do. Prayer can answer all things. Prayer will change your situation. Prayer is the connection with the divine. Prayer is mental peace. Prayer is hope and positivity. Prayer is guidance and wisdom. Prayer is strength and resilience. This your main man, Action Jackson. And if you didn't know, now you know. I know what prayer can do. It is Tell Me Something Good Tuesday right here on the Brunch Bunch on Inspiration 1390. Unfortunately, Tamara Fair is not on the air. We're keeping her in our prayers. She is okay. She just had to have a doctor's appointment, and we believe the report of the Lord. So we dedicate that song to Tammy because we know what prayer can do, and we're praying right now that God touches her body and heals whatever infirmities there may be. In Jesus' name, amen. We got a great show for you today. We have the deputy mayor of the city of Chicago joining us. That's none other than Kenya Merritt. And then, of course, today is Tuesday Community Chatter. We have Wynona Redmond from Win-Win Communications joining us, who each and every Tuesday brings us a new best friend or an old one that we can reminisce with. So you know what, believers? We're going to ask you, like Charmaine would say, to call your friends and your frenemies and tell them to tune in to the Brunch Bunch right here on Inspiration 1390.
Hey, it's your main man, Action Jackson, and the business spotlight
Cut that down.
is
Is that the ice cream song?
Available in Snickers.
Oh, you did that. Oh, that okay, Zoe.
Southern style frozen pudding available at your local Jewel Osco. Go to
Let me
Lorenzo'sFrozenPudding.com for more information.
Right.
This business spotlight was brought to you by the Dream Center Co-working and Business Support Services.
Attention motorists, get your new Buddy Bear yearly Buddy Pass for as low as $17
This ain't Texas.
for the entire year. No matter where you are, in 15 locations, you can go
only on Mondays
and get your car washed every day if you want. All year long, Buddy Bear members will receive.
Zoe, it's Monday, not Mingling Minute. I mean, it's Tuesday, not Mingling Minute Monday. Yes, I just heard it, Zoe.
And get your
this ain't Texas, because it's Chicago.
That's BuddyBearCarWash.com. Dreaming of a new home or selling at a great price? L&S Development is your go-to. Expertise in real estate and mortgage loans, we make the process seamless and rewarding. No more hurdles in your property journey. Buying, selling, or refinancing.
She said she's here.
Dial area code 773-616-0900.
You added it to security, right? Because Buddy down there.
Area code 773-616-0900.
Yeah, whatever.
L&S Development, making property dreams.
I'm going to go quick.
We're in the Raw with Tamara Fair on the Brunch Bunch.
Well, of course, I am not Tamara Fair, but I am filling in for her on this In the Raw, and I believe she would have loved to have made this announcement. If you didn't know, now you know. Biden announces new plans to provide student debt relief for millions. President Joe Biden on Monday was expected, and announced his revised plans to cancel student debt along with other actions benefiting millions while he was in Madison, Wisconsin. Biden's new plans are aimed at canceling runaway interest for millions of borrowers, nullifying debt for those who are eligible for but not yet participating in certain forgiveness programs, such as those in public service who've been paying off their loans for 10 years or more. Borrowers of undergraduate or graduate loans who started paying off loans at least 20 or 25 years ago, respectfully. Borrowers enrolled in low financial value programs and those experiencing hardships that prevent them from making loan payments. The administration's new plan, in combination with previous actions it has taken, would provide student debt relief to more than 30 million Americans, the White House said. Woo, 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 woo. Jarrell excited about that. I don't get that excited because, of course, I'm like Kanye. I'm a college dropout, so I don't have any debt. But thanks be unto God who gives me the victory, and thanks to God for this relief, because it's a travesty when you read this and you hear people who went to college for a better outlook on life are still paying student debt 10, 20, 30 years later. It's a travesty. So shout out to the Biden administration for this new addition to his student loan debt relief program. But listen, we're going to keep this day moving. You know, no matter who's in the White House, who's at City Hall, who's in the State House, God is still on the throne. And that means we can never be defeated. This Rich Talbert, never be defeated, right here on the Brunch Bunch. Hey!
How are you?
Good to see you, Madam Mayor, Deputy Mayor.
How are you? Thank you for having me.
No problem.
How are you?
Hey.
Okay. I mean, I don't do
That's
okay. So, what does that mean?
So you don't have to.
Okay.
The people be wanting to
okay.
see, but you know, you don't have to.
Yeah.
How you feeling? How's everything going?
Okay. It's been a heavy day.
I know. I was like, we won't talk about it.
No, we won't talk about that. Yeah. What will we talk about?
We're just going to talk about you and your position and what you do.
Don't do that.
I was like,
hi guys, I'm Kenya.
Jarrell, Adam, Justice, and my girl, your name just escaped me. Ronita. I was about to say Roro. I'm going to give you a nickname, right? Ronita works with Win-Win Communications. You know Wynona?
Okay, yeah.
She's a Emmy-winning. Yeah.
How's the baby? How's the wife?
There. Babies are working us. Who told us to have two, under two, back to back?
That's a blessing. You get it out of the way.
Yeah, there won't no more happen now.
You get it out of the way. That way when they like are off to college,
they gone together.
You just done. And you just like, you and Valencia just gonna just have y'all entire life.
Yes.
And you just watch them be adults and like enjoy that.
Like your son who's doing big things. Carnegie, what school is it?
He's at Yale.
Yeah.
Carnegie Hall.
No, I'm thinking of Carnegie Mellon and
okay.
I'm like, I know he had one of these prestigious Ivy League.
In Connecticut. Finishing up his
last year. Already? He just went. It do seem like just yesterday you were posting he was on his way to school. Oh man.
It's a moment. It's like a moment. He has a job.
I was gonna say
he has two job offers.
Okay.
He's majored in econ and political science. So he has two job offers.
Our next mayor of Chicago then.
Maybe, who knows? You know, Mayor Johnson said 24 years, so maybe 24 years from now is Caleb's turn. So he will be in DC.
Okay. I love DC. I love it.
It's a good place to visit. Like New York. It's a good place to visit.
Yeah, New York is
there. Right? Like I can fly into New York for like a day or two.
I have a love-hate relationship with New York.
Why?
Because every time I get there, I hate it. I'm like, why did we come here? And then after a day or two, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get back because I didn't get to do A, B, or C. But we just spent a week there.
A week? Okay, a week is too long.
But you know what it was? active day too. But you know what? I got a show ticket, so we went to the View live with Kelly. We were gonna go to Tamara.
Oh, nice! You guys were doing all the things.
Yeah, but this was her second time, so we made it real touristy. We stayed in Times Square.
Ooh.
Yeah, tell me about it. Then we hung in Harlem and met entrepreneurs who are looking to come to Chicago and open businesses.
We need them.
So it was dope. But then towards the end of the trip, I'm like, oh, I could use one more day.
I would have never imagined that. Not anymore.
Hey, believers, it's your
But yeah,
man,
DC is my joint. I don't know if I can live. It seems it's too political and slow outside of politics.
Every Saturday at 6 p.m.
Yeah, because when you don't, if you're not engaged in politics and involved, you're not in the city, you're living in one of the, suburbs outside, you're in Maryland. So when I go, I stay in Capitol Heights, Maryland, which is maybe 10-minute ride into DC.
Well, you gotta tell me where we should be looking for a permanent
to connect directly with their ministry. And don't
All
forget
right.
to follow Bishop on
You got
Facebook at
government
Corporate Bush
salary.
Ministries
So
for
you can't
daily
be staying in
inspiration and updates.
Jesus.
Don't forget, tune in
So
this
he'll
Saturday
probably
at
live
6
in
p.m.
Maryland.
to the
Capitol
Word
Heights is
Network
building
for
up.
a
Where my cousins
life-changing
live.
Is it affordable?
Hey there, Chicago.
Or is it like it's like
Look,
West
it's
Loop, like you say it's building up, it's like West Loopish stuff.
It may be like
where it's
West. It may be West Loop.
you need a decent salary.
Right. He won't be too far from the city.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I may have to subsidize his rent for a little bit.
So
'cause
whether
I,
you're buying,
you know, that's
selling,
my
or
own.
refinancing.
Yeah, so you want to
So I
make sure
gotta
he's
make
sharp.
sure he's safe.
Sound like my nephew called me like, yep, I'm moving out. I'm getting me an apartment. I said, good. He said, I know you're going to help pay rent. I said, huh? Like, you lived in no park too long to think that.
Park is expensive.
It is very too expensive.
Hey
Not for
guys,
long.
it's Tamara
Them
Fair.
taxes.
And Action
I
Jackson.
was
From
killing
the
it.
Brunch Bunch. Now,
And
your
I was
home
sharing with
is not
Charmaine
just a
on my
place.
channel.
It's a lifetime
I did
used,
mine
hard-earned,
unconventionally,
and
so
cherished.
my
At Secure
my
Home
taxes
and
aren't in
Automation,
my
they
mortgage.
understand what it means to protect
So I
your
just
home.
gotta pay.
As a Brinks authorized dealer, they stand
And
guard
it's a
over
lot
1
easier when
million
they
homes
just
and
take theirs
businesses,
off top
ensuring
every
safety
month and put it in the
24/7,
escrow.
365 days a year.
And you know what? They're responsive.
No, I've been looking back in also.
Top-notch
Come on back.
monitoring for
Yeah, I need a nice one of those nice Danny Davis block houses.
They will fulfill and even exceed all industry standards. With Secure
I
Home
think
and
I may have
Automation,
went. She
they have
retired
the
from
power to customize your
the Attorney
security
General's
solutions.
office.
I just saw it online. I was like,
No, they called me like, we got somebody, and I went to view it. Big old house, 2 staircases, grand piano on the stairs.
Safeguarding your home and preserving your peace.
She had been living there 40 years though, so you know.
447-3344.
Hey, Tarina, how you doing?
3344.
Another West Sider.
Choice to secure your tomorrow.
West Side NAACP right here.
oh, those are my
Now
feet.
experience the promise
We're trying to
of
get y'all
safety
here
that
for
they
the
bring to your
conference.
home. Call Stacy Chauncey at 866
Yeah, I think
447
honestly, I think we have.
3344. Stacy Chauncey, 866 447 3344. Where's the action, Jackson?
I'll tell you what's going on.
So what's going on is we have a great guest with us today, and that's none other than, I'm going to start it out like this, a West Sider, Miss Kenya Merritt. She is the Deputy Mayor of Business and Neighborhood Development for Chicago. With over 20 years of experience in public service, Kenya is dedicated to promoting wage growth, entrepreneurship, and investment across all 77 neighborhoods of Chicago, hopefully with a star on the West Side.
Yes, of course.
Her leadership will be crucial in revitalizing communities and creating economic opportunities citywide. Join us with a warm brunch bunch welcome for Miss Kenya Merritt, Deputy Mayor. Woo, 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 woo.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so good to see you, Marcel.
It's always
Mr. Jackson. What should I call you?
You can call me Action Jackson.
Okay.
Look at Jarrell. Why you gotta be hate, man? No, I'm so happy to have you.
Can I just shorten it to Action?
You can,
Okay.
Black folks give nicknames to nicknames anyway.
I was gonna say AJ. Like...
Talking about you come up with a nickname, then they give you a nickname for the nickname.
Absolutely.
But you don't have a nickname, you have a new title. So you've been serving the city of Chicago for many years in different capacities, but especially around economic development.
Mm-hmm.
And You were appointed Deputy Mayor of Business and Neighborhood Development. How did you feel when you got tapped for that position, and what inspired you to take the role?
Yeah, so I mean, it was exciting. As you know, this is my second tour of duty. I spent about 20 years in public service before in a variety of roles, still with the city of Chicago. I'd like to say I've done everything with the exception of support our team at Streets and Sand.
Mhm.
So I've worked in financial management, social services, early childhood, did some work around arts and culture. And my last role before leaving my first tour was as Chief Small Business Officer. And that's actually how you and I met.
Yep.
And so we met just with some work that I was doing on the West Side, particularly with partnering with organizations and entrepreneurs around how we build capacity and how certainly the city can support. And of course, as you started my intro, being a West Sider. Yeah, for sure. Born in North Lawndale, currently live in Austin. It's a lens in which I do this work. And so even at that moment as small business officer, I was always leaning into how do we support our businesses in our communities of color, which are in many cases anchors around community as well as economic development. So after that role, I left for a little bit.
We were all like heard and were trying to figure out who was going to be the next chief small business officer. We were like, where's Kenya going? I just knew you were going off to the private sector to make multi-million-dollar leading firms or something there.
Can we speak that maybe?
Yeah, right after this tour.
That would be amazing. But I left and I went to philanthropy, still very much focused on economic development, just in a different sector. So I joined the Prisker Trauber Foundation, which is a family foundation led by Penny Prisker and Brian Trauber. And the lens in which they gave or supported through their philanthropic arm was through economic development.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was a part of the team that led their community impact portfolio, which included the Chicago Prize. And so I joined at a pivotal point where they were in the process of going through the selection process of the second Chicago Prize. And the winning recipient is a development on the West Side that's in Cofield Wellness Village, which will be on Madison and Garfield Park. So super excited about that work. So still had an opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
But a long way of saying, like, although I left and came back, still had an opportunity, from my opinion, to do some work that was impactful in growing our community and our neighborhoods. And so when the opportunity presented itself, how could I say no?
How could you say no? Deputy Mayor Kenya. All right, listen. So for the people who are listening and saying, all right, because one of the things we try to do on the show is try to get our listeners politically engaged and understanding the process and the positions. Because most of the time we just go vote. We don't know what people do. We're not holding them accountable because we don't know how to hold them accountable. But in this role, in this position, what does your job entail?
Oof. So the role is a big role, but I look at it as an opportunity to do some work that's transformative. So just taking a step back, the simple way to describe the role is it's all things economic development. That's either direct or either adjacent. And so, you know, the purpose of my role is to take the mayor's vision and his strategy around an equitable city that ensures that every neighborhood has access to all of the amenities that we need, that we have housing across the spectrum, from those that are houseless to those that are looking to leverage home ownership as a wealth building tool, that our commercial corridors are activated, that people have access to jobs, but not only just regular jobs, great paying jobs. And so the way that I do that is through partnering with city departments as well as affiliates. And this is kind of like the easiest way to describe it. So work that people are familiar with the Department of Housing, the Department of Planning and Development, which is very much focused on the built environment as well as their support of small businesses. the city's business department, which supports, of course, business owners, as well as workers. And then the fun department, the Department of Cultural Affairs, and special events. And so what people don't recognize, or I should say appreciate, is the role that arts and culture play in terms of placemaking and placekeeping, and its intersection around economic development and how that brings vibrancy to our neighborhoods and communities. And then we have 4 city affiliates. So public housing, the Chicago Housing Authority, McCormick Place, Choose Chicago, which is the city's tourism arm, and then World Business Chicago, which is really exciting, the work that's coming out of that organization in terms of how are we leaning into future economies and sectors here in the city that are strong, that are poised for growth. How are we working with corporations to ensure that they're more inclusive? And so when we think about the future state of Chicago, are there sectors that we can lean in on that can create a more equitable city? So for example, quantum technology, which we're super excited. You probably have been reading some of the articles in Cranes around a company that's looking to locate either on the south side or in Lockport. Of course, we're doubling down on them locating on the south side, but to have such an elite technology as quantum make a decision to be in Chicago, the opportunities that it brings, not only into just placemaking in terms of them being there, but the opportunities of bringing other people along and having access to that sector in terms of a future career. So it's a super exciting time for the city. I'm happy to be a part of the administration. We have a really strong team. This is an administration that is very much people focused, and so it aligns with just my own personal values. Again, I still live in Austin, and so I wake up in much of the same conditions that most of folks wake up to in Chicago. And so when I come to work, I come again with that lens of like, how do we make sure that our communities are equitable and that people have access to opportunity?
I love it. And I'm glad you explained, because I didn't even know all this your job.
When I said yes, I didn't know either.
You're like, yeah, I take the job, but wait, I didn't know all of that. Yeah, so because you don't think when you think deputy mayor business and neighborhood development, you don't think the arts and culture piece
or the tourism like tourism, like that's a part of the job that's exciting. So people think about just simply people coming from other cities or other countries or people visiting for tourists, but like there is like a strategy around tourism, and again how it's intersected with economic development, how we're leveraging it as a tool to even push people to different neighborhoods. And so there's a team within Choose Chicago that's focused on exactly that, like our neighborhood strategy. They just launched a campaign this weekend called our 77 neighborhoods. And so again, it's about like, how are we leveraging these opportunities and these tools again to drive growth in our neighborhoods, and tourism certainly is a way that we're really leaning into.
If people don't pay attention, well, that's the good part about being tapped in and plugged in and knowing what's happening. You got DNC coming. You had the National Association of Black Journalists convention coming, and these people are coming to spend money.
Yes,
they of course want to go to the best places, and not we're living in an age. I was in New York, and I happened to my fake cousin, we call each other cousin, Tennille Jackson.
I love her. Her.
Tennille was in New York, and so she said, let's meet up. We met up, and her daughter, I think it was her daughter who said she was finding places on TikTok, whatever TikTok showed. And I'm like, I didn't think so on TikTok. But when I went, I started getting ideas of what to do. And so that goes to when people are coming to Chicago, they're not just going to the Mag Mile.
Yeah.
Thanks to TikTok and social media, they come into the local businesses. So you got to know what's going on.
For sure. And so and people can, maybe I'll share it with you, or maybe I'll put it on LinkedIn. Check out my LinkedIn, Kenya Merritt. We just launched this video series, to your point, around the beauty of our neighborhoods. And so what some people may find as like disinvested, like there are so many assets and like businesses in our neighborhoods that folks are interested in like tapping into and visiting. Like that That's Donuts
Yep.
on the far south side. We have MacArthur's in Austin. We now have an amazing coffee shop, Urban Essentials.
Yes. Woo, woo, woo.
So, like, all of these amazing places that end up, again, being anchors in our community. When people are visiting, they want to experience the authenticity of the city. And the beauty about Chicago is that you can essentially go around the entire world in one city.
Yep.
Like, there are so many different cultures and we're so diverse that way. Um, so we launched this campaign that has a video series about different neighborhoods in the city, and so excited to push that out and just elevate all of the great work that's happening in our neighborhoods and the people that are in our neighborhoods.
I love it. Kenya, I know you're a very important woman these days, but we're going to have to get you back because, the conversation goes, and I tell anybody, any elected official, any government official, when they come, we got to figure out better ways to disseminate information to the communities because unfortunately so many people just don't know what's going on and don't know any resources. So speaking of resources,
yes,
are there any resources for entrepreneurs or businesses coming through the city? We know Spiff is coming this summer, and well, it's out now in certain districts. But are there anything that maybe I may have missed?
You say tapped in.
Well, yeah, I got to. I wouldn't survive if I wasn't. And that's why we bring it to the believers. Yeah. But we got you here. I just in case I missed something, let me know.
So there are a couple of things. One, in terms of just like resources and support, of course, we have our team in the city's business department. But we also have grants that are administered through the Department of Planning and Development. And they have a series of grants that are available to business owners. Those like Spiff, those that are looking to make improvements to the actual physical location of their building. And then we have community development grants. We have small grants, which don't quote me, but I believe they're up to $250,000, and then large grants, which are up to $5 million. Yep. And so those are based on either smaller projects or larger projects where people are either acquiring buildings, renovating, building, but essentially, creating the vibrancy that we need in our neighborhoods. Under this administration, we just closed the first round earlier this year where we led about $38 million in community development grants, and super excited about some of the grants that are on the west side, like Revolution Workshop, Firebird Community Arts Center. We are like really leaning into areas that need investment and need more investment in terms of the built environment. And our small businesses as well as community organizations are the way in which we're doing that. But there's more to come. I can't announce others. I have to come back maybe in a month.
You can give me an exclusive if you want.
I have to come back in maybe like a month. There are other resources in the pipeline in terms of capital that we're looking to provide to some small businesses. That's just a little bit of a sneak peek.
Okay, just write it down for me so I know. Well, Deputy Mayor Kenya Mayor, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and join us. We appreciate it. We're asking you all believers, if you didn't know, I know you heard it in that melodic voice. This is a sister in this high position, Deputy Mayor of Business and Neighborhood Development. So we must cover her. We must continue to pray for her. And we need to support her in any initiative and endeavor that she has coming out. We love you, Kenya. Thank you so much for coming. We're going to keep winning on this Winning Tuesday because, of course, coming up next is Community Chatter with the Queen of Communications, Wynona Redmond. It's Charles Jenkins winning right here on the Brunch Bunch.
Love it. How are you? Good to see you too. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. Look, I know you had to get out of here, and I was waiting on Wynona, so I was like, I will keep talking till you give me that eye.
Okay. You got my info. Yeah. I love the Bible that's here.
Old school, right?
Old school.
We're going to get a picture in the hallway real quick.
Oh. 773.
Hold on. The whole Facebook Live. Sorry, y'all. Adam just cut the phone off. Yes. Okay, Wynona, you ready? All right, drop Wynona intro and let's roll. So that worked perfect.
Hi there, it's Wynona Redmond, and it's time for Community Chatter brought to you by Win-Win Communications.
Well, each and every Tuesday, Wynona of Win-Win Communications brings us a new best friend, and sometimes she introduces us to an old one. But one thing I love about Wynona, let me just say this: I believe in giving people their flowers while they can smell them. When I say Wynona is amazing, she truly is amazing and a master connector. And I just love when you bring people in here because there's always something great happening. So let's give a warm brunch welcome back to Wynona. Woo, woo, woo.
Thank you. And just keep blowing my head up. I told you when I graduated from 8th grade, I had the largest cap size. But God is good.
Yes,
and
he is.
I tell you, March is Women's History Month, but it's 365 days. April is stress management.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Month. It's Stress Awareness Month, but it also is Black Maternal Health Week and month. Is Donate Life. There's so many different causes every day, but Charles Jenkins wrote that winning song "Just for Me." Sometimes you just have to be inspired and re-encouraged. But April, this year is running away from us. But 2024 is such a big year. We have the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, but we also have the National Association of Black Journalists. The journalists from all over the country will be in Chicago July 31st to August 4th. But Who's Who in Black Chicago is coming back. I'm so excited to work with Diana Lewis and Real Times Media. And now we've started the weekly Who's Who in Black newsletter. And so we will be collecting more and more stories. But health is the biggest thing that we work on. And I'm excited that I've launched the Dear Me Care Circle ministry for caregivers. We're going to be celebrating and spotlighting caregivers. And we're telling people to go to dearmecarecircle.org. Tell us your story. If you are taking care of a relative, if you have a caregiver that should be celebrated or spotlighted, you'll hear more. But for Stress Awareness Month, we are going to be doing a webinar later at the end of this month. I'll announce more details on stress management for caregivers. We've got Michelle Pettis, who will be teaching about how to write and journal your wellness for stress. But today's guest on Community Chatter is someone I'm very proud of, Tyrena Newkirk. Wait, let me make sure. Sutton. She got a married name.
Yeah.
She got some initials behind her name, MPHMSW. Someone that is just so, when we really at the end of the day, if we measure our success, it's not in what we did, but it's in what others did. I am so proud of this young lady.
Yes.
She's got a title. She's a vice president with the West Side NAACP. Before she was that, she was calling me, I'm doing the health committee and I'm doing the health. But before she was that, she was someone that my twin brother, Winslow Redmond, used to drive home from Providence, St. Mel with my niece, Markia, and Ashley, my nieces. So, Tyrena, welcome.
Welcome.
She is a bright young lady. She's a mother. She takes care of, she's a mother, but she's doing a lot of work with the Westside NAACP. But you've got a great program lined up. But Tyrena, tell us about yourself, and then tell us about this National Black Maternal Week, because you've got a movie screening going on tomorrow, Thursday, and then you've got a panel with Westside United. But welcome, Tyrena. I am so proud of you. And come on, tell us. She got a full agenda.
Yes. So thank you for having me. First of all, I'm really excited to be here. Thanks, Marcel, as well.
Oh, thank you for
I am
coming.
here representing the Chicago Westside branch NAACP. I'm the third vice president and health committee chair.
The youngest vice president?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, but the hardest working vice president?
Probably, that's arguable, but probably with the lineup that I have coming
up over the next couple of months. For sure, the hardest working over the next few months. We are in the process now. We're celebrating upcoming Black Maternal Child Health Week, which is designated from April 11th through the 17th. That is a national designation. Like Wynona mentioned, April is Minority Health Month, it's Stress Management Month. And so, what I thought was important is to kind of shine some light on the Black maternal child health crisis.
Yes.
It's happening nationally, but what we're seeing specifically in Chicago is just honestly unacceptable. On a national scale, Black women are 3 times as likely to die from complications from childbirth and pregnancy. And we represent, as Black women, 65% of the deaths that are happening in Chicago from pregnancy. And so I think that's obviously a disproportionate number. We're not even the largest population. And so I think it's important to make sure the community is aware and that they are figuring out what their place is and really helping us to solve this issue. So on April 11th, we're hosting a community screening at Loretto Hospital at 5:30. And then on that screening is going to focus on the film Aftershock. It's on Hulu. We're going to break it down and have some panel discussions. Very excited about that work. And then on the 16th, Westside United, which is an awesome organization, you got to get them in here.
Yes.
Westside United is in partnership with our branch and a program that's launched by Lori's called Westside Healthy Parents and Babies. They're hosting an event at Bethel New Life on the 16th at 9 a.m. called Connections to Care, where they'll really take the conversation to a larger scale and say, okay, we got the community piece at the film screening, but now let's talk to the key stakeholders on this issue, which include the medical professionals. So there'll be some MDs on that panel along with me. I'll be bringing that community experience, some of that lived experience as a Black mom who, is on the West Side and in that risk category. So really excited for these opportunities.
And when you look at Black women's health, we also are going to have this Saturday at Rainbow Push, Yusuf Jackson, Bobby Lewis. We've always had the health committee with Reverend Jeanette Wilson. Yep. There's going to be a series kicking off this Saturday at Rainbow Push as well that will include the whole Black women, the wellness and women. So when you look at all of the things that hit us, we've got to be serious about fighting for health. The maternal piece, the statistics that Tyrena just shared, they're serious. But then when you look at equity and the racial ways that some of our communities have been treated, when Black women are quick to be given hysterectomies.
Mm-hmm.
When
offered abortion,
yes,
quickly.
And so there's so many different issues. I love the fact that this Thursday is going to be at Loretto Hospital. We've got Taysa Anowishki, the president, the Black woman president at Loretto Hospital, who was over the foundation for many years. You've got Senator Kimberly Lightfoot. You've got Representative Camille Lilly, who's been there 30 years with the external affairs. You've got Trish. You've got and Paula. You've got such a great anchor hospital in Loretto, in Austin. And we always hear about the numbers. So Loretto Hospital is the place to be for this filming. And tell me, can folks still sign up? Can folks still come? How do they get to this screening? And what is about this screening? Is this Spike Lee's wife?
It is.
So tell them about the movie this Thursday.
Yeah. The film is called Aftershock. It actually follows Fathers, which I think Chicagoland Dad Squad would be excited.
I know. I'm like, Fathers, okay.
It follows the fathers who lost their partners in childbirth or shortly after.
Wow.
And it's a really compelling story of how they've had to advocate, how they've had to just navigate life without their partners and raise their children with their support network. So it is, one of the directors is Spike Lee's wife, Tanya Lewis Lee. And so she did a really, really good job, I think, of centering the Black experience in this film. And so I'm really excited to share it with everyone. We won't be watching the whole thing, which hopefully will drive everyone to Hulu. They told me to tell you guys that.
Right.
But we're really excited to bring the community together and just use this film as a launching pad to have a larger conversation, which is what is happening in Chicago. So the discussion piece will be hyper local. We're going to talk specifically as much as possible about what these problems look like in Chicago and on the West Side, and what resources and connections to care might exist for a Black woman trying to give birth on this side of town.
You know, the saddest thing about that, Tarina, Wynona said it. It's a travesty that we still have to fight for equitable rights in healthcare. First of all, in this country, I am a witness. Thank God, I'm not a father that had to be an aftershock, but and that's sad in itself to think, because that was one of the things that really worried me when Valencia was giving birth to MJ, and she, most people don't know, was almost out of here too, but it was a black nurse. She was the head nurse at Amherst who ran in and told me, Dad, it's gonna be okay. Now I'm in the hallway praying and calling on the Father. She was in there helping. But navigating this healthcare system over the past couple of years have shown me really there's not just black women, it's African Americans, period. And it's sad. So kudos to you all for shining a light on this, Tarina, because there are so many people that just don't understand that they have rights when it comes to healthcare. So that's all. I just want to give you some kudos.
And Marcel, when I say that we launched the DearMeCareCircle.org for caregivers, it is, when you have a young lady like Tyrena who is a mom, and Marcel, you as a new dad of two beautiful young baby boys, and with Valencia and standing by her. That's why it's so important when we say women's health or maternal week, that it is a family thing, and that fathers do have a role. And you've got your father's group, you've got fathers who care, to realize that there are fathers who are caregivers. There are fathers that are it's not where it's all women heading households, but there are fathers who've stepped up to the plate. And especially when we have health concerns, when we have challenges against our children, sometimes, when it's a family member and it's not us, then you're even more dependent on making sure that the advocacy and the services are there. So who's going to be part of the discussion? So people can go to Hulu before Thursday to watch the movie and then come and see excerpts from the movie and be really ready to participate in the conversation on Aftershock. So what is the program lineup going to look like? Who's talking on Thursday?
Yeah, so we're going to get a really great kind of ground setting from Aisha Jaco, Executive Director at Westside United. She's also the person that's going to continue the conversation on the 16th. And then we're going to actually hear from the Chicago Department of Public Health. Really excited to bring them to the table because they are responsible for creating programs to help people address this issue. We also have an obstetrician gynecologist, Dr. Erica Taylor, who has been experienced. She's previously practiced on the West Side. She's passionate about community health and community care. And then we have Sona Smith. She's a birth equity advocate, and she's someone who's in the community, making sure that she's the voice of the parents and the moms who are experiencing this and helping folks connect to what we still consider non-traditional birthing care, which is doulas, midwives, and birthing centers. So I think we'll have a really well-rounded panel of experts on the topic.
And to stay informed, to be empowered with this education is huge. So Thursday is good. Now, how do people sign up? How do people show up, sign up? And you're going to feed folks.
Yes, we are. And so...
don't tell them that. They're going to knock the doors off their heads.
But you have to register.
Yes,
I was going to say, I'm encouraging everyone to register. You can register at bit.ly/watch aftershock. So that's bit.ly/watch aftershock to fill out a registration. But if somehow you forget, please feel free to still just join us. We're excited for everyone to get in the room. You can also follow the branches, the Chicago West Side branch, and ACP's Facebook page for updates on this event and the event on the 16th.
And we'll post it on our social media pages. Make sure you go to bit.ly/watch aftershock. All right.
And it's going to be at Loretto Hospital, just an anchor in the community. At the time?
Yes, 5:30 if you want to eat. But the official screening and panel discussion will begin at 6. So we'll be there starting at 5:30, offering resources so that folks in the community can get some information. We're going to be offering some food since we're taking over people's dinner hour and a little bit of popcorn since we're watching the movie. So I'm really excited.
Okay, and then on April 16th.
Yes, and then on also, sorry, there are going to be some giveaways for the pregnant women or new moms in the group. And then on April 16th, we're having a panel discussion at Bethel New Life at 9 a.m. And that's hosted primarily by Westside United, Westside Healthy Parents and Babies, the Chicago Westside branch, Lurie's Hospital, and they'll be focusing on bringing doctors to the table to talk about how the community how we can improve connections to care to address this issue.
Right. And going back to Thursday, those giveaways, we want to also recognize Aetna,
yes,
Better Health of
absolutely.
Illinois.
Yes, so our key partner for this event and some upcoming events out of the NAACP is Aetna Better Health. They've been really supportive in making sure that there are attractive opportunities for the community to come and learn and improve their health. And so we want to say thank you, of course, to our key sponsor, Aetna.
And Dr. Lakshmi Emery, one of the sister doctors at Aetna, was just honored this past weekend when Dr. Mildred Harris had her major Chicago community breakfast, praying over the community and the health leaders. But Dr. Emery was one of the honorees there. So, and then on April 16th, Bethel New Life, Sharif, and all of our friends over there, again, a key anchor in Austin, the largest community of African Americans in the city of Chicago. You've got a good lineup, and folks can register there and sign up.
Yes.
How?
So the best way to register, I believe they just began circulating that flyer. So I'll make sure to get a copy over to Marcel to post on the site, and of course you to be able to spread as well. So we just got that flyer a few days ago. I do believe there is a registration, but again, it's recommended, it's not required.
Right. And so then that lineup, you share the doctors, you share the speakers. We love the Westside United. You know, Rush has a great foundation in supporting Westside United. Deborah Wesley is the chair of Westside United, and we know all the work that she's done with Sinai Community Health Center and over the years. And also Dr. David Ansel, who is just one of the biggest advocates for equity and diversity. And, you know, he wrote the book, you know, this Jewish doctor who I was on management council with 20 years ago with Ruth Rothstein at the Cook County Hospital, but he's just been one of the biggest advocates for health equity, especially for African Americans. So you've got a great organization, and Aisha just is everything. So you've got a great lineup. So we had the right partner in the studio to talk about Minority Health Month.
Yeah, you know what? I'm loving to see Wellness West, Westside United, Westside NAACP really putting a focus on health.
And Rainbow Push, we've been doing the health panels with them for years, and Yusuf Jackson has come in, and there's a whole new lineup for health series there too.
Yeah, and Sinai has a great initiative, really pushing and going into communities to make sure they're recruiting more African American and minority doctors. You know, so Tyrena, you're doing some great work. Carl Brinson, my main man over there, he called me the other night. I love being connected to so many great people on the West Side. Listen, this was a full West Side panel today, Wynona. Our deputy mayor West Side, Wynona West Side, Tyrena West Side. We killing it up in here.
We got West Side beginners, but we reached the whole city, the whole state and multiple markets in the state. But this health, this health issue is it's for real.
And I want to make sure that the believers, just in case they kind of glossed over it, Wynona mentioned her Dear Me Care Circle. And if you're a caretaker in any capacity, go to dearmecarecircle.org. You do not want to take for granted these resources, because sometimes we're forced to be caretakers and sometimes we choose to be caretakers. But it's no easy task. And on yesterday I put up, I don't know if it was the solar eclipse or something, but I was just a little off. And when I sat down, I realized it wasn't the solar eclipse. I was just a little overwhelmed. And then the kids came in, and Valencia was like, let's go to the park. And I'm like, I don't have time for the park. I need to work. I can't think. But I went to the park with MJ. And it felt like
everybody was out
there. Everybody was out there. But it felt like all of my worries were away. The sun was shining and it felt good. So I understand the overwhelm that comes with being a caretaker. So please go to dearmecarecircle.org. Make sure you sign up for the newsletter. You connect with this organization because Wynona has a soft spot for caretakers, and we
I
need that.
became one, and there are family caregivers. Good Morning America had a segment. They said you look up one day and you're in the middle of it. Hermine Hartman and I were having a conversation. She kept her mom at home till her mom was 101. And when you are running a business, when you are working, but they deserve it.
Yep.
They deserve it. And so when we had to figure out 7 days a week, round the clock care, I took the third shift.
Yep.
That's so important. We want to spotlight those folks that help, because you can hire hands, but when you hire people that have the right heart, when you have nursing homes, nursing services, hospice, that's why we want to shine a light on the good.
And it's hard to find good caretakers. So that's why this is really good. Shout out to Nate Rogers from Fox 32, who did a very good piece on becoming a caretaker and taking care of his mom. And it's no easy task. So we're asking you believers to lift caretakers up in prayers. We're definitely praying for the Evans family. The late, great Reverend Evans, his niece passed away, her and her daughter on yesterday. And so we're keeping them lifted in prayers, the entire Evans and Fellowship family. And Wynona, we definitely are praying for you.
And the prayers were what carried me through. The Dr. Mildred Harris, the Kyles, the Reverend Wilson. But we also are keeping Bob Dale's family up in prayer. Kathy Dale has been a phenomenal caregiver. When they say in sickness and in health, she has continued. She cared greatly for Bob Dale, and he just passed. I know his services are April 18th at Trinity. But
his sister-in-law was with us yesterday, Gina. I didn't
Gina
really,
Lamar,
Gina Lamar, Kathy's sister. So,
but it's a big deal. It's a big thing.
The caregiver website, one more time, they asking on Facebook. It is dearmecarecircle.org. That's dearmecarecircle.org. Believers, we're out of time. But we're never out of content. And in the spirit of Glorilla, at the end of the day got to end. So we go in this day. We encourage you to keep Love 24 alive. Tell someone that you don't know that you love them. Tell someone that you do know that you love them. Love will begin to spread like a wildfire. Tamara Fair, not on the air. We love you. She'll be back tomorrow. I will not be here tomorrow, Thursday. So lift me in prayers as I travel. But I will be back with you on Friday, believers. Up next, AC Green. After that, Pastor DeAndre Patterson with the afternoon drive. We get it done all night long right here on Inspiration 1390. All right. See you, Facebook. Wasn't this a great show? What is the caregiver website? They loving that. That's a good one. All right. See you all.